Have you ever stopped to really wonder who truly decides what news finds its way to you online?
Mm.
Like what stories get amplified, rising to the top of your feed, and what just quietly vanishes into the digital ether?
It's a huge question these days.
It really is. And
Hmm.
today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that profound, often invisible shift in how media coverage is shaped.
Yeah.
Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack one core question.
Yeah.
Who really controls the news we see? And we're doing this all through the lens of the fascinating sources provided on the rise of algorithmic gatekeepers.
Right. And it's important to set the stage because, for decades, media coverage was quite literally shaped by visible editors,
Okay.
dedicated journalists, actual newsroom decisions. Think about it. Specific people, specific roles, clear editorial boards.
You could point to someone, basically.
Exactly. But as the research clearly highlights, that balance of power has shifted dramatically, almost imperceptibly for most of us, really.
Okay, so this dramatic shift you mentioned where does it get really interesting? Is this where these invisible editors you mentioned come into play?
That's precisely where we start. You see, when you open your social media feed or search for news,
Yeah.
you're no longer just seeing what a reporter wrote, necessarily. You're seeing what algorithms designed by, well, massive tech companies have essentially decided to show you.
Huh.
They've taken on this really powerful role of filtering, ranking, and recommending information.
And that contrast is fascinating, isn't it?
It really is.
In traditional newsrooms, you had editorial boards,
Yeah.
editors-in-chief people whose decisions, okay, maybe not always popular, but were at least visible
Right, and accountable.
and accountable, crucially. But now, these algorithms, they work entirely behind closed doors, influencing what gets amplified and what quietly fades away
Mm-hmm.
across platforms like Google, Facebook, TikTok.x.
All the big ones. And it's not just what they show you, but how they decide.
Okay, how do they decide that?
Well, the research emphasizes that these algorithms are relentlessly optimized for specific metrics.
Like clicks.
Not just clicks, though that's part of it.
Mm.
It's also about how long you dwell on a post, whether you share it or even if you comment on it.
Engagement.
Engagement is the key word. Think of it like a highly sophisticated digital tutor constantly learning your engagement triggers
Mhm.
and feeding you more of what it thinks will keep your attention, regardless of, say, its factual basis or societal value.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
huge departure from traditional journalistic merit, isn't it?
Absolutely, which historically prioritized things like accuracy, depth, relevance to the public good, you know?
So if engagement is the main goal,
Hmm.
does that open the door to something more insidious?
Well, yeah,
Like, does it inadvertently give misinformation a huge advantage?
absolutely. What the research clearly shows is that misinformation often thrives precisely because it is emotionally charged.
Right, it gets a reaction.
Exactly. It's often designed to provoke a reaction, making it incredibly easy for these systems, which are just looking for engagement signals, to amplify it. And this optimization leads directly to some pretty significant risks, particularly what's known as algorithmic bias.
Algorithmic bias. Explain that a bit.
Sure. So this is where the algorithm, often unintentionally, learns and then amplifies existing human or societal prejudices that are present in the data it's trained on.
So it picks up our biases.
Essentially, yes. And that leads to skewed or unfair outcomes in what information you end up being presented with.
So that outrage bait we often see online,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just random. Our sources suggest these algorithms have become incredibly good at tapping into our innate human biases.
That's right. Things like our negativity bias, our confirmation bias, to serve up content that provokes an immediate, often emotional reaction, because that equals engagement.
Precisely. And that's where the critical, often complex journalism, the kind that truly informs citizens on issues like, say, climate policy,
Yeah, the important stuff.
or the intricacies of healthcare inequities, or even local governance decisions, that kind of stuff gets systematically sidelined.
Yeah. It just can't compete, often, not with the instant emotional hit these algorithms are trained to seek out and promote.
So what's the consequence then? Where does that lead to?
Well, potentially a distorted picture of reality for many people. People genuinely believe the news they're seeing reflects the truth or reflects importance.
Right.
But really, it's often just what an algorithm predicts will keep them glued to their screens longer.
It almost makes you wonder what rabbit holes I've been led down without even realizing it, just this week.
We all probably have, and this creates a whole new struggle for visibility.
How so?
Well, think about a local journalist, maybe. Or an NGO trying to raise awareness about a critical but maybe nuanced issue like community housing.
Okay.
Or a complex piece of climate legislation.
Hmm.
In the past, they'd pitch it to an editor.
Right, who'd weigh its public value.
Exactly. The editor would make a judgment call based on journalistic principles.
And now.
Now, our sources highlight that if their meticulously researched, undeniably newsworthy story doesn't somehow trigger instant engagement.
If it's not flashy enough or controversial enough.
Uh-huh. If it doesn't fit what the algorithm favors, it risks complete invisibility. Just poof, gone.
Wow. That's a profound shift.
It really is.
Creating a new frontline challenge for basically anyone trying to communicate important information in this algorithmic age.
Yeah, PR professionals, activists, even just everyday citizens trying to share something important.
Given all this, it really demands a crucial conversation about accountability and transparency, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
The sources we explored raised some really prided questions. For
Right.
instance, should these algorithms be open sourced
Hmm.
so the public can truly understand how their news is being filtered?
Cool.
How feasible is that, though, practically speaking?
Well, that's a complex one, and the research does delve into the significant technical hurdles and also the proprietary challenges, trade secrets and all that.
Sure, sure.
But it leads to related questions. Should regulators maybe step in? Should they compel platforms to provide, say, equal visibility for verified journalism?
Instead of just what gets clicks.
Right, rather than just optimizing purely for engagement metrics.
Huh.
And then there's the idea of alternatives. Could decentralized platforms actually give audiences more control?
Shifting power back to the individual user.
Potentially, yeah. Allowing you more say over what you consume.
So ultimately, what this research makes crystal clear is that these aren't just like technical questions for Silicon Valley geeks.
Oh, not at all. Exactly. They go to the very heart of democracy itself.
Oh, so?
Because if the very media coverage, the information that shapes public opinion, that can even influence elections.
Yeah.
If that's increasingly shaped by invisible code, then something as seemingly small as like a line of algorithmic logic can have profound, even global consequences.
It's staggering when you put it like that.
It is.
So to recap our deep dive today, we've explored how algorithms have quietly, but wow, powerfully become the new invisible editors of our information landscape.
They're shaping what we see, what we know,
Yeah.
maybe even what we believe. And the profound implications of this shift for how we perceive reality and form our opinions are just, well, they're immense.
Absolutely.
Which really raises an important question for you, our listener.
So what does this all mean for your daily information diet? How can you navigate a world where unseen code influences what you know?
Yeah, what steps might you take?
What steps might you take to ensure you're getting a truly well-informed view of the world? Keep questioning, keep exploring,
Keep digging deeper.
and keep digging deeper into the powerful, often unseen forces shaping our world.